So your first thoughts about the mother. Let's go on that topic. I already just said my piece. Thought she was perfect, and I know some people that weren't really too big on her that have gotten used to her, and now throughout season 9 they really kind of understand the point. But did you guys instantly like her as well, or did you have some kind of skeptical perspective of it, or do you still hate her if that's the case?
I
I'll
thought
start.
she was perfect.
You did?
I thought she was, the minute they showed her and you just saw the way she carried herself, she looked like she fit right in with the cast, and it just clicked.
Yeah, I agree. I saw her, and before we saw her, I didn't really have a mental picture of what I thought she would be, but then once she appeared, I had that same reaction you did, Tony. Like, that's it. They got it. She's perfect.
Yeah, I agree. When I saw her, I was like, I'm like, I couldn't imagine anyone else being the mother at that point. I was like, that's like on point. They got it. End of story. Like, I had no problems with her being the mother whatsoever, nor have I really met anyone who hated her, so that's all new for me.
Dace?
Oh, I immediately called dibs and then started Googling her. It's like, this is going to be my future wife. Sorry, Ted. She's mine.
So maybe that's how the story ends.
Yeah,
the mother leaves for Chris Dace.
He had implied dibs, and it just does not fly.
So sorry, we just spoiled the finale for everybody listening.
That's why I'm flying out tomorrow morning.
Man, how are they going to introduce Dace in that hour?
It's going to be legend. Wait for it. I'll finish it later.
He comes out of the pineapple, doesn't he? Isn't
Yep.
that the whole deal?
It's going to be like a giant cake kind of thing where people come out of it. Big pineapple instead.
I'd be the most hated person in America.
Just go like full ham about it. Hi guys, I'm Chris Dace. I'm going to be the father instead.
Have you met me?
By the way, she's 28.
Damn it. Sorry, that's not that bad.
Closer to my age. There goes your dibs.
Damn. No, okay, I called dibs first.
Yeah, well, I'm older, so screw that. Another topic I wanted to bring up here that people debate about back and forth. When we didn't know who the mother was, people were thinking a lot of different people that were in relationships with Ted were alternatives for the mother. And they had said before that if they were only in one season, they would have just given it to Victoria. But if you had to go with a second best choice, and the mother, whatever her name is, ended up not being the person that they ended up putting there, and they ended up just going back to an old girlfriend or whatever like that is, who would you guys rather have seen Ted end up with? Maybe Zoe, Stella, Natalie, blah blah. I'm going around in kind of a reverse circle from last time. Dace, who would you rather have had?
Obviously Stella.
Just because Scrubs?
Just because
yeah.
Sarah Chalk?
Sarah Chalk. Sarah Chalk for the win.
Jamie?
I guess either Stella or Victoria. I'm leaning more towards Victoria because I feel like they clicked a lot better. Yeah. But I think I would have been disappointed had they gone that route, though, altogether.
Ronnie?
Yeah, I agree with Victoria. That would be my next choice.
Robert?
Victoria only because Zoe and Ted didn't get along. Stella already had a child, so where would that child have been? Victoria was the only one who even remotely made sense, even though I kind of have been hoping for Ted and Robin, even though she's introduced as Aunt Robin, and I'm sure those kids have nightmares about their father and their aunt sleeping together, but doesn't matter. I would have went with either Victoria or Robin if it could have happened.
I don't know who I would go with. I didn't really like any of them enough. I mean, Jeanette was annoying as all hell. Stella, man, screw Stella.
Hey!
And Zoe, the hell was Zoe? She was just a total bitch. I'd probably have to go with some random one that they just had in like one episode or something. I don't really know who that would be off the top of my head. I always thought that the slutty pumpkin would have been a good thing to bring back if they needed to. And I'm really glad that they did eventually do that, and she ended up being the total opposite, just because it throws that on a 180 curve. But my big theory before they did it eventually was that it was all going to turn out to be Barney's half sister. I was looking forward to that. I thought I called it, well in advance, and ever since that episode where they do the whole scene with the basketball net, and the sister's not there, and they mention that she's in college, I was just like, they're throwing that out there because that's what it's going to be. I know it. I know the end of the series. Everybody could just skip to the end. I got it. And then they bring her on, and it's totally wrong. And I'm just like, son of a bitch. When they introduced the character, though, Carly Whitaker, she's totally not somebody that I could see with Ted, so you wouldn't bring that name up for potentials for that. I'd probably end up going with Victoria. But that second trip around with Victoria, I didn't like her as much.
Yeah, I kind of just throw that out the window. I didn't care for who they brought her back as.
When it goes for second choices of other people, Barney had a whole thing going on with Nora, and we thought that he was going to marry Quinn at one point. Obviously, now it's over with, and we know that he marries Robin, but if you were to go for a second choice for Barney, what would you guys go with? Same order as before. Dace?
Quinn. She was hot. I really have no reasoning except that she was hot, and she was a stripper. Oh God.
You don't think Nora was?
She was hot, but she wasn't a stripper. Quinn was a stripper. Come on.
Jamie, who would you want to have seen?
I probably would have gone with Quinn just because, based off the personality that Barney had, I felt like their personalities meshed well. Oh, sex-wise, anyways. And I mean, I wasn't a big fan of Nora. I don't know why, but I just didn't really like her. She really actually annoyed me a bit.
This is a female Burhan.
Ronnie, who would you go with?
I'm gonna agree with Quinn. I just think that she definitely was she seemed like a better match personality-wise. I agree with that. And I liked Nora, but they just didn't seem to click as well as you would expect, as well as you would hope for someone who's going to be Barney's wife.
Robert?
I can't believe nobody said Ted's mom.
That's a good point.
But I would have...
Can I change my answer?
Go right ahead.
Go ahead.
I would have definitely went with Quinn because they did match, but they did keep you guessing for a while with Barney. Even with Patrice, I'll admit I was kind of fooled when they made it seem like he was going to marry Patrice and just change for Patrice. But all in all, I would have went with Quinn, and I think they could have ended Barney's story there. But no, Robin always had to be the center of attention, so Robin it was.
I detect a hint of hostility behind that.
I don't care for the Robin character.
Really? Not even just to back up Ted, but in general?
Well, no, just from everything she did romantically, I didn't care for her. When she was just by herself, she was an awesome character and provided great moments, but romantically, she just screwed over Ted and was ready to be with anyone else other than Ted, and that just never sat well with me.
And she's Canadian.
Yeah.
Right? It's all good in the Canadian thing. I'm so glad that they ended up making Barney part Canadian, though, just to kind of balance that out a little bit.
It was great. That was probably one of my favorite episodes when he went to Tim Hortons in Toronto.
How many loonies do you think picks up a bar tab at MacLaren?
God, I hate why do they have to have their dollars and $2 to be coins? I don't like the jingle when I walk. What's wrong with that country? Can I have an anti-Canada podcast after How I Met Your Mother ends?
Yes.
Immediately after the episode ends?
Yeah. Why we hate Canada. How I Met Your Mother, nothing to do with Retrospective.
Let's call it Canada is not steak sauce.
Oh, God. Hate Canada.
Can they just become a state already?
No, they should just disappear. We don't want them in our country. Them and their beards.
One mention that I gotta throw out there again for everybody: if you do want to call in and suggest random topics for us to talk about, or talk about something else on your own, little reminder: 760-512-7247, or you can call in using Skype, and we'll get you on the line, and you can complain about Robin. You can talk about how awesome Barney is, and you want to sleep with him. You can try to challenge Marshall to a game and probably lose, whatever the case may be. So going from the idea of second choices and all that, before I never said my choice. I would have gone with Quinn. Anyway. And it's not because she's a stripper. I just thought that she meshed well.
Oh, it's because she's a stripper. Come on.
No. Doesn't she mesh well without the stripper element?
I guess.
Boom! Lawyered.
There you go. I'm going to throw a random topic out here just because I have a lot of notes down, and I figured, what the hell, why not? The naked man. Anybody willing to try it? I know that I don't have the balls to do it.
Nope.
No, not comfortable enough in my body to do that.
Only if it's a Marshall and Lily case, and I've been with the girl for, 10 years.
Yeah, that's a little different. Not with some girl I'm out on a first date with.
Not even if you know that it's going to go bad?
No, I couldn't throw that Hail Mary. I just couldn't do it.
Jamie, what would you do if somebody ended up pulling a naked man on you? You gonna fall for it like with Mitch?
I really think it would have to depend on the guy. If it was someone I liked, I might actually go for it. I might fall for it. If it was something where I didn't really think it was heading in that direction and they decided to pull that, I might just run out of the room. Just because I've run out of rooms for worse. I mean, not for worse, for less. So to see, that would probably be the worst thing to ever happen to me if that were the case. I'm sorry.
I'm going to get your perspective on another thing here. Does Ted pull off the red cowboy boots?
No. I never thought he pulled them off at all whatsoever. Like, he was cute for trying, but I felt maybe if he wore the right outfit, but he never wore the right outfit to go with those boots. And to me, I'm just like, no, it doesn't work for me. Like, just take them off. Like, no.
What other than bearded Wonder Woman can pull off red cowboy boots? I don't.
Bearded Wonder Woman.
To go back to the naked man, Tony.
Mm-hmm.
Challenge accepted. I will report back in a couple weeks. Yeah, I will report back in 2 weeks.
Next podcast.
You need to get the boots too and try that. Why not? Combine your efforts. See if you can pull it off.
Oh, I could easily pull a chick in those red boots. It matches the tone of my skin when I get mad, like the Hulk, but red.
Can you at least get approved by G-Quack?
Absolutely. Challenge accepted.
Another random topic here. This is a really random one that pretty much nobody will have much to talk about, but I wanted to throw it out there because I want to give credit to myself. I'm honest. What the hell? The episode of Jenkins at the time, I thought this was a really weird instance that happened, but I usually, when the show goes on, and I do this for other TV shows too, I don't pay that much attention to what the next episode's going to be about. I don't want to know really like any spoilers, and I try not to even watch the little, next week on whatever, we're going to show you half the scenes that are going to be important and spoil that and stuff. So I got into that habit a couple years ago, and funny enough, when it happened, that episode of Jenkins, that day I was thinking to myself, you know what? I don't think I've ever came across a woman named Jenkins. That's just such a manly sounding name. Like, Jenkins is always like a dude. And I turn on How I Met Your Mother, and it's a whole episode about people thinking Jenkins is a guy, and I was just like, you gotta be kidding me.
Weird Minnesota names, though. I mean, Jenkins.
They're basically Canadian, too. You go listen to the Minnesota people, they use the word A.
Minnesota.
Hunt moose. It snows all the time. It's Canada.
And they scream like Brock Lesnar, but that.
Wow!
So we talked about the pineapple incident, and there's a couple questionable things that they pick out through the series. There's the olive theory, which, for anybody who doesn't remember or anybody who missed that episode or anything, is where Marshall and Lily, one of them likes olives and the other one doesn't, and that's what makes them a perfect couple. And we find out at the end of the episode that Marshall actually does like olives, and great line as well when he tells Lily about that, and Lily just says, "We'll figure it out. Like, we'll work, it'll be okay."
Months of therapy.
That's probably why they ended up breaking up and she moved to San Francisco, because their whole relationship was based on a lie. You think about that?
The olives kept going missing, and she didn't know what was going on, and it was, like you said, it was a lie.
It was like, instead of the episode where Ted and Robin break up over the milk, or have the argument over the milk, they don't break up over it, but what you don't see and what Ted doesn't know, so he can't recant back to the kids, is before she decided to take that trip, she just went into the fridge one day and she's just like, "I really want olives." No! I gotta get away from Marshall so I can keep my olive stash. Do you guys think the olive theory has any actual credibility behind it? I do. Maybe not necessarily olives in particular, but I do think that you need a certain amount of give and take when it comes to relationships, where somebody does something and somebody doesn't. You need maybe one person's a talker and the other person doesn't talk that much and they just listen, so that way you're not talking over each other all the time. You've got, an adventurer and you've got somebody who doesn't do that much, so the adventurer brings the other person out, gets them to try new things. Other person can kind of take them back down to earth. They didn't touch upon that kind of stuff that much, but that is basically what the olive theory depends upon. What do you guys think about that, Jamie?
I think I thought it had credibility to it, not just in relationships, just any relationship you have with a person in general. Just kind of a balance of things is always nice. I always kind of imagined with my boyfriend and I, who I love seafood and he doesn't, so I'm like, well, whenever we go somewhere, I don't have to worry about someone taking my shrimp. I mean, that was the first thing I thought of with the olive theory, and I was like, so that kind of works. But I mean, it works with any kind of sort of relationship you have, and I think that was kind of something. One of the first things that I liked about the show was things like that about life in general.
Now, after this podcast, you're going to get some shrimp and your boyfriend's going to be like, actually?
I would be so upset. I would probably cry.
Off to therapy for you guys as well.
You'll figure it out, don't worry. Robert, what do you think about the olive theory?
I think every relationship does need balance, but they also show you within the olive theory that a lot of those signs from the universe and trying to find reasons to balance things is just in your head anyway, and it can all turn out to not be true. So, while I think balance might be nice, you also have to realize that some of these perfect signs just aren't there, and I think that was what I took away from the olive theory.
Ronnie?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree that I think it does make sense that regardless if it's a relationship or a friendship, just two people can't be completely in sync in every aspect, because even with Marshall and Lily, it's been established in the show they are such a great couple, but they are not identical. They're their own people, so they have their differences, and I think that just makes things stronger.
Dace?
Yeah, once again, the checks and balances thing. I wouldn't necessarily want somebody as crazy and talkative as me because I like the attention, and I don't want them stealing it from me. It's mine.
Another theory is the Mermaid Theory, and I forgot about this until I rewatched it because it just wasn't, popular enough or whatever when the series was going along. Do you guys remember the Mermaid Theory, or are you in the same boat as me where you were like, wait, what episode was that?
Yes, I remember the Mermaid Theory.
What do you think about it? The whole idea that somebody is going to turn into a mermaid when they look like a manatee at first to you.
That, I think, is very true. gonna have a moment, even if it's just you get closer with the person, or you're a 10 feeling like a 4. You're just gonna one day look at this person and they're gonna be attractive to you, even if it's just for one day or one night or whatever it is.
Anybody else have any perspectives of the Mermaid Theory?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Any personal stories?
Well, no, I don't think so. I've never dated a manatee. It's been all mermaids. I do like one theory that they do have, but I'll talk about that after we get past the mermaid one.
Well, if anybody else has nothing else to mention about Mermaid Theory, go ahead.
Oh, does anybody? I don't want to stray, derail topic.
No, go ahead.
See, I'm a big fan of Barney's theory that women are like gremlins. 1, never get them wet. In other words, don't let them take a shower at your place. 2, keep them away from sunlight, i.e. don't ever let them see you during the day. And 3, never feed them after midnight, meaning she does not sleep over and you do not do breakfast with her. Ever. And brunch is not cool.
You mean you wouldn't rock it 2 bros brunch style? If I invited you to brunch?
Ted, brunch is not cool.
Oh man!
I don't know, I'm hearing that zucchini breads were dunk.
How about a little Mamma Mia?
That I might have to pass down on. That's a character that I really think that they should have had some more time with. Brad.
That the Blitz?
No, the Blitz was awesome though. I love the
Okay.
Blitz. But I'm not talking about the Blitz.
Oh man!
Brad, the other lawyer that Marshall was friends with from law school.
And who
Joe
came
Manganiello.
back?
Oh, yeah, that big guy. That Barney punched and goes, I think we should just talk this out.
I did like his character a lot. He was one of the best supporting characters, I think.
Scooby was pretty cool.
Scooby was good for an episode, yeah. Any people that you guys can think of that were supporting characters that popped up for a couple episodes that you were really a big fan of? That's one that comes to my mind right off the bat is Brad.
Definitely Brad. But I would also say Abby, Britney Spears' character. That was a great supporting role. And all of the parents, like his mom, Clint is one of my favorites. And of course James.
Oh yeah, James.
Yeah.
James is a good one.
Gotta love Wayne Brady.
Gotta love Wayne Brady.
Meh.
Carl, the bartender, right? That was his name, Carl.
Yeah.
Do we ever find out his last name?
I always thought it was MacLaren.
Isn't he like Hispanic?
Yeah, he could be part Irish.
Well, he did say the bar stayed in the family when he gave it to his son.
His white son with blonde hair, which is...
He might have... I don't know.
I also liked Will Sasso's character when he was like the bouncer there a couple times.
Doug the bartender.
Oh, yeah.
With the
Toupee.
wet hats.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite running jokes in that episode.
So why are they wet?
No explanation for it. It's just...
I like how he was really happy about it too. He's just like, nobody's wearing the hats that I made. I liked Blauman a lot, and I didn't realize it until watching it again this time around. But that steak sauce thing that they had going for that, and when he stands up on the conference table to take a piss and leave, and come on.
Well, now that you mentioned Blauman, they do say in that episode when he stands on the conference table that he died. So there's another little story plot that they did not follow through with.
Yeah,
Oh,
somebody tweeted it was
Yeah.
either Carter Bays or... Do you know which one it was? Carter or Craig?
I want to say it was Craig, but I could be wrong. But I saw that tweet where he was saying that Barney was just lying in that episode.
Yeah, in their defense, when I don't talk to somebody in 6 months and somebody goes, hey, have you heard from so-and-so? I'm like, oh, I think they died. That's what I do.
And he does kind of throw that out there, just like, oh, and he died.
Yeah. So I completely understand why he may have thought he died. It might have been 6 months since he last talked to him.
Or it could have just been Doppelganger.
True.
That is true.
I want to find my Doppelganger so much. It's ridiculous. I really want that to be like a real thing. We're going to play a little game right here. And it's going to be Name That Bitch. I'm going to mention somebody who was an old conquest in the dating world for Ted. And I want to know if any of you guys can actually pop her name out. So I got a couple here.
Robin.
Well, for half the episodes, yes. This one knows Krav Maga.
Natalie.
Ding, ding, ding. Who was the person in the pineapple incident?
Trudy?
It's Mandy Moore. I don't know what her name is.
No, it was Trudy.
Is it Trudy?
Yep, Mandy Moore was the tattoo.
Ah,
Who is Boats, Boats, Boats?
thank you.
The person who went on the date to see the wedding bride.
Oh, what is her name?
That was not one that I remembered. I remembered the actress, but I never remembered her name on the show.
I want to say Jen, but
Nope.
You got me there.
Shakira.
Royce, apparently.
Royce. That's not even ringing a bell.
Right. Insignificant character, but why not? More significant character, Ted's on and off again girlfriend in college.
Karen.
Donna.
Yeah, Donna counts. Speaking of Royce, this is something that I mentioned that I was going to talk about different things that I never saw until watching it a second time around. The end of the episode, they were talking about how everybody has baggage, and they show a bunch of people that are carrying briefcases and suitcases and everything that's supposed to represent their baggage, and it all says something on each one of their things. Apparently, I think there's 3 girls that walk by that shot that it says slept with Barney. And something that I was like, that is really cool because nobody's going to see this unless they go back and watch it. A guy is holding one of the baggage things, and his says, still thinks his ska band is going to take off. And he ends up bumping into a girl, and her baggage says only dates guys in a band. And they just bump into each other and just go like, oh, sorry. So I don't know if they ever planned on doing like a little spin-off, or that was just like another little romanticizing of the minutiae of everyday life kind of things. But looking back on that, I was just like, that's a really kind of sweet thing that they threw out there. Something else, apparently Barney loves the number 83. When he does statistics, he tends to use 83 almost every single time. And there's a bunch of other instances throughout where he picks a number, and it's something like 183 or 38
or 8.3, I think he did once.
Yeah, 8.3, yeah. So that's another running gag.
Yeah, and like Ted did call him on that in one episode. Said, did you know when you make up a statistic, you always pick 83?
Right. And it's always the inverse of whatever it is. 17% of the time this happens. The Murtaugh list, that's another random thing here. I agree. Sometimes you just get to that point you can't do that shit anymore. Stuff.
Yeah, stuff.
Challenge accepted.
Don't end up like Barney.
None of you play laser tag? Is that what I'm getting here?
I would if I could. I don't have any around this area.
Dude, there's one, like, up on 73. It's fantastic. The only problem is if you're 6'3" and the kids are like 4'10", so if you're trying to shoot them, normally they get you first because your chest is eye level and theirs is on the ground. So what kind of adult shoots at the ground? Freaking unfair.
I see a future thing that we're going to have to try to do.
Dude, I'll go. Let's go this weekend. Oh, no,
All right.
WrestleMania. The weekend after.
All right.